very good evening, friends. Welcome to the final session of the National Education Conclave 2021, organized by the Heartfulness Education Trust and co-sponsored by Sammunati. The theme for this session is Inspiring Positive Health and Lifestyle in Youth, the Role of Universities. We start this evening session with a globally reputed keynote speaker, Dr. James Doty, from the Stanford University School of Medicine. I would request Sri Naren Kinney to please introduce Dr. James Doty and invite him to render his keynote address.
Namaste everyone. James R. Doty was until this year a professor in the neurosurgery department at Stanford University. He continues to be the founder and director of CCARE, or Center for Compassion and Altruism Research and Education, an affiliate of Stanford Neurosciences Institute. Dr. Doty, or Jim, as he prefers to be called, is a very dear friend and one of the most precious acquaintances of mine in the last few years. Thanks to his book, Into the Magic Shop, that has transformed many lives globally and has been translated into several languages. Jim lives by simple doctrines of love and compassion. In fact, that is the essence that brought me closer to him. I have a first-hand experience of his influence on the youth and their transformation in schools and colleges based on his mentorship. He is busy contributing to the society while he is not at his professional endeavors. Currently, he's working on releasing a podcast called Into the Magic Shop. Also working on yet another entrepreneurial venture called Happy, an app to assess the emotional state of individuals by using their phones. There is also a practical workbook of Into the Magic Shop with exercises to practice being released later this year. I'm sure you'll enjoy Jim's insight into the topic of discussion for this conclave.
Hello, everyone. What a joy and a pleasure to be with you today. As many of you know, throughout the world, actually, at many universities, there is an epidemic of stress, anxiety, depression, and sadly, even suicide. And many people ask, what is the solution? How can we show students that we care for them? And I think not only at universities, of course, throughout society, it's our challenge to show that we care. As you know from my introduction, I study the science of compassion, but just as importantly, I also study mental health and how compassion can have a positive impact on one's mental state as well as one's physical state. Certainly, one of the challenges that we face is that getting into universities is very competitive. And while this is wonderful in regard to getting the best students, unfortunately, what can happen is that you have students who have been, if you will, coached or given the impression that the most important thing in life is to get into a competitive university. And while that may be true, the problem that often happens for students is that this intense pressure on them results in them being anxious and afraid of failure. As a result, of course, this leads to a variety of mental health issues and can lead one to depression. When you look at solutions for this, there's certainly not one universal solution, but there are many techniques that we can use to decrease this degree of anxiety and stress. One of the first things I think that we should think of is that the availability of mental health services should be promoted throughout the entire student body, and make sure that these types of resources are readily available to any student, instead of a student going into crisis and then having to sort out, or have their friends or parents sort out, how to find help for them. The other aspect is that we should not imply that being stressed, being anxious, being afraid, being depressed is something to be ashamed of. One of the biggest challenges is that students are afraid that they're being judged by other students, that they're being judged by the faculty. And as a result, many of them are afraid to express their anxiety, their stress, their fears, their depression. So it is necessary that we destigmatize this type of situation, because frankly, it's very, very common. And there may be a small percentage of people who don't feel this, and that's wonderful for them. But frankly, these types of feelings are actually in the majority. In fact, when we look at students at Stanford, medical students, undergraduate students, even faculty, many of them are stressed, anxious, afraid, because this is the nature of a hyper-competitive environment. One of the other opportunities is to create, either even within dormitories or other places where students gather, is to have groups who discuss these issues. If you will, you can call them student ambassadors or healthcare assistants or mental health assistants, but something that brings this out into the open and clearly makes students aware, one, they're not being judged, two, this is a very common problem, and three, they should not be afraid. Now, in addition to these efforts, I think that we also have an opportunity to offer students other resources. One of these resources can be a heartfulness practice or a compassion practice. And what do I mean by this? We know that through meditation techniques, we have the opportunity to significantly improve one's mental state, as well as positively impact their physiology. As an example, when we think of compassion, which in a university setting we defined as the recognition of another's suffering with a motivational desire to alleviate that suffering, we also not only look at the outside and how others are suffering, which we of course should all be attuned to, but we need to look inside. And I think that's the most important thing, to be self-compassionate. As many listeners may know, there's a large variety of research articles that demonstrate the power of self-compassion. One of the aspects that leads to this stress and anxiety is being hypercritical to oneself. In fact, it's been found that a large percentage of people are more critical of themselves than anyone. And as you can imagine, when one is hypercritical, this directs one inward in a negative way, where they ruminate. And of course, this rumination or repeatedly being hypercritical to oneself then leads one down the path of increasing stress, increasing anxiety, and ultimately depression and the potential consequences of that depression. So I would suggest that when you think about alternatives for students, that you offer them throughout the university these types of meditation or mindfulness practices that, of course, have been present in essentially all religions for thousands of years. And the reason these types of practices have remained present and used by literally millions of people throughout the world is because they work. And I know for myself that when I utilize these practices, it results in me calming myself. It results in being more present. And as all of you know, you cannot learn if you're not present. When you have repeatedly rumination, anxiety going on in your head, it impairs your ability to be present. Because what's happening is that your sympathetic nervous system is engaged. And of course, we all know this is associated with the flight, fight, or freeze response. And when this happens, this shuts down or markedly impairs those areas of the brain associated with executive control functions. And those are the parts of the brain that allow us to have access to memories, have access to experience, and be able to make much more thoughtful and discerning decisions. So I would suggest that we think about bringing these practices in a very open and deliberate way to universities. We destigmatize the negativity associated with mental health issues because, frankly, they're so common. I'm not even sure if we should imply that there's some negativity associated with it. But the reality is, especially in the modern world, these are characteristics of modern society, and that we should be more accepting, more gentle, more heartful as to how we deal with ourselves and how we deal with others. I think we should also keep in mind that a student is not the summation of their grade point average. What do I mean by that? Oftentimes, especially in hyper-competitive environments, especially in situations where parents imply through their actions that they value a child's academic accomplishments more than they value the child. So when a child fails, when a child doesn't meet the aspirations of others, they look on themselves as a failure. This should not ever be the case. A human being's value has nothing to do with their academic credentials. It has nothing to do with who they've impressed. It has nothing to do with their position. A human being's value has to do with their heart. Do they love? Do they care? Are they gentle? Are they compassionate? Now, some may argue, what does that have to do with academic success? Well, one could say absolutely nothing, but I would suggest absolutely everything. You know, I have seen situations where you have students, because they put so much pressure on themselves, that they will steal, they will cheat, they will sabotage other students' experiments to get ahead. Well, what do you create there? Do people actually believe that if these are the mechanisms that an individual will utilize to be quote unquote successful, that when they leave the college or the university, that magically these types of attitudes will disappear? Of course not. These become so ingrained that even after they finish university, they still will utilize these types of behaviors to get ahead. You know, people ask me, what's the meaning or purpose of life? And of course, that discussion is much longer than the time we have today. But what I tell people is that you know that you've led a meaningful and purposeful life when you have passed, and when your children think of you, when your family thinks of you, when your friends think of you, they think of kindness, caring, and compassion. Thank you very much.
After this wonderful session, let us go to the field and look at a couple of exemplary contributions towards promoting holistic health through a heart-centered approach.
Good morning. In today's world of various activities and the uncertainty of the activities that we are facing in day-to-day life, and therefore the stress that has been increased at all levels, whether we can reach to the office at time, whether we can reach to the home at a time, whether my child will come from the student safely or not, whether in today's situation whether I will be developing COVID-19 or not. So, all these issues, the various issues in day-to-day life, in day-to-day working, we are facing the stress, and how to overcome this particular stress. For overcoming from the stress, the number of activities that have been suggested, the yoga, tai chi, meditation, heartfulness. Heartfulness is one of the important activity which is basically based on the meditation and very important to give relief from the stress. In our institute, that is MGM Institute of Health Sciences, Navi Mumbai, this heartfulness activity is being implemented since 2016, when former Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Sudhir Chandra Kadam, who has liked this particular concept of heartfulness, and he himself with his wife and the number of faculty members, in which the biomedical sciences department is at the lead, Dr. Mansi Thakur, all other colleagues and the various faculty members have liked this particular concept, and then MGMIHS have shouldered this responsibility of spreading the message of heartfulness in the institute and also outside. The first CME in this particular heartfulness concept has been held at our institute, MGMIHS, and in this particular CME, more than 100 doctors, nurses and allied health professionals have participated, actually practiced this particular concept, and they all have liked this particular concept. The number of other activities we have done and we are doing in this particularly heartfulness concept. Till now we have conducted more than 100 heartfulness awareness program. We have also incorporated voice course for UG and PG curriculum itself. So, our all students will be acquainted with this particular concept of heartfulness. We actively participated in the various events organized by the Heartfulness Institutes like National Level Essay Competition, International Peace Day, Yoga Day and so on. The recipient of Heartfulness Organization Award for exemplary leadership in promoting well-being, supported by tools and techniques offered by Heartfulness, has been received on February 8, 2020, and there is good feedback from students, faculty for this particular program, and they are really practicing this and getting benefited from this. Thank you very much.
It gives me immense pleasure to introduce to you our keynote speaker, Dr. Ishwar Baswa Reddy. He is a director of Morarji Desai National Institute and he is advisor for the Ministry of Ayush. He is a very prominent figure in the field of yoga and wellness. He is having over 30 years of professional experience in yoga education, therapy and research. He has imparted yoga training and therapy to more than 1 lakh people all over the world across all the sections. He has also established preventive healthcare units of yoga all over India and especially in Delhi. I would now like to extend our warmest welcome to Shri Ishwar Baswa Reddy ji, who has been so supportive in heartfulness movement and been one of the strongest pillars for our organization.
Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste. Respected DAAJI and all my yoga enthusiasts and my brothers and sisters, my pranams to you all. I am very happy to share some of my views on nurturing emotional intelligence and life skills in the universities. And as we know, we recently, Government of India has come up with new education policies after a long time with lot of innovative ideas and how we can take up Atmanirbhar Bharat in the years to come. Let me start with one of my very frequently quoted statement: spirit is the essence of man. Atma or spirit or soul, whatever we call, that is the essence of man. Therefore, spirituality is the core of life, and also if you see the yoga, it is completely essentially spiritual. Therefore, to achieve anything and to develop anything life skills, to manage our physical body, emotions, intelligence. So we should understand how spirituality is the core, how the spiritual oriented life help us to balance our emotion, intelligence, and also help us to develop the life skills. In the new education policy, it has been emphasized normally the main aims of or objectives of education have been the physical, psychological, intrapersonal, professional and spiritual refinement of a personality. So for this, there are many ways, means and methods. But here I am emphasizing mainly on yoga, how it will culture from the material life or material body or matter and take us to their highest level of consciousness. The purpose of sadhana, the purpose of life is to be free from the magic wonders of the mind and remain free all the time. Freedom is the divine gift. So if you see the ultimate goal of yoga, it is moksha, it is nirvana, it is mukti, it is kaivalya. All that translate into one word, that is called freedom or liberation. How education helps us to understand our inner potentials and unfold them. Here I would like to mention Swami Vivekananda. Today, this is the birthday of Swami Vivekananda. So there I extremely happy to inform that he rightly pointed out 4 important potentials and the 4 schools of yoga or kinds of yoga to nurture all these 4 potentials. One, it comes to always, once we born, we have to work. So that is how to work has been explained in the Karma Yoga. That is called selfless action. The second one is, for this we need the devotion. Devotion is nothing but unconditional love towards anyone. If it turns to divinity, it becomes the bhakti. So therefore, bhakti is complete devotion or unconditional love for the entire humanity, for myself. So that will take to the higher level of understanding the human being. So for this we need the viveka, discrimination power, nitya anitya vastu viveka. So that viveka has been acquired by the practice of jnana yoga. So jnana, bhakti, karma, these are the 3 important streams of yoga, basically mentioned in Gita also, and Swami Vivekananda has emphasized these 3, but he commented on most importantly the Raja Yoga, the mind management, which has been explained. Most of the time it is called only confined to Ashtanga Yoga of Patanjali. So there it is how to manage the mind. Unless we harness the mind, unless we understand the various facets of mind, we cannot culture our actions. We cannot culture our emotions and devotion, and we cannot have the discrimination power. Therefore, the beautiful combination of jnana, bhakti, karma and raja will help us to understand what we are, what are our inner potentials. The entire purpose of Ashtanga Yoga, Patanjali said, Ashuddhi Kshaye, Jnana Dipti, Viveka Khyati. These are the 3 goals of practicing Ashtanga Yoga Patanjali mentioned. Therefore, first of all, I am talking about the ghata or the physical body. So once you've taken care of, we have to educate our students about our physical body needs, then the detoxification and cleansing periodically, not every day. Then also the food is very, very important, what we eat. So then how the metabolism take place and help us to get the energy. So once you that, there are two principles, yama and niyama. Many times they are called as moral values. But in my opinion, there are self-restraints and observances, which helps to overcome the karma shuddhi. While doing pranayama, I become inward. The pratyahara practices has been given. But ultimately, the purpose of pranayama is dharanasu eva manasa. By practicing prana ayama, so I am able to concentrate. The prolonged concentration leads to meditation dhyana. So there are various kinds, means and methods to meditate. So heartfulness meditation is one of the very profound and very simple best method developed what I saw. Once we start meditation, the inner journey starts. Therefore, the inner journey starts, that leads to self-realization. That self-realization means I am understanding my inner potential. So once I understand my inner potential, I start exploring my inner potential, which are inherent, which are in the inherent. Therefore, Swami Vivekananda always emphasized in the education, so I have to develop, I have to reveal, I have to understand this inner potential which are within us. So that potential to realize the truth, the supreme consciousness is present in every person. Therefore, the entire process of yoga is going to align myself with the supreme consciousness, that today in the universities, in higher education centers, we need this one, not only the classroom teaching. So it is personality development. So type of thing where it is more field training than on the classroom teaching is very, very important. Now in the West, already they have been adopted this type of education. Now in the Indian system of education is deep rooted with spiritual values and spiritual upliftment. With this, we need to change our mindset, adopt the Indian culture, which is already there. Only thing we have to re-examine, re-implement and improve ourselves, and helps to improve the society and to the nation. I had been with DAAJI for quite some time, a man of vision and a man of action and a man of a lot of potential, and guide the entire humanity. So that's why he's very, very acceptable yoga master across the globe. What I found in DAAJI, he's go with the realities of life, not a superficial thoughts. It's very simple and it goes with the reality. That reality is coming up with understanding the prana vidya, and it relates with the heart, and the heartful meditation has been developed. Therefore, the heartful meditation techniques, which are very, very simple and scientific, by correlating, aligning our physical energies, the pranic energies, and mind and emotions balancing, that is the core. With this vision, DAAJI is going to have the universities for the next generation. Thank you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
I would like to welcome amongst us the popular holistic health guru of India, a corporate life coach to Bollywood superstars, politicians, Miss Universe and Miss World, members of police and armed force, and many other celebs. Dr. Mickey Mehta. Dr. Mickey Mehta is one of the most influential wellness leaders of the world. He is the author of the best-selling book, The Shunyam, which is doing very well all over the world. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the author, the poet, the philanthropist, the guru, the legendary Mickey Mehta, who would be energized, optimize, Mickey-mize, naturalize, and in short, Mickey-mize. Welcome, Mr. Mickey Mehta.
Hi, this is Dr. Mickey Mehta, your holistic health guru. My best wishes for heartfulness, and my heart is full of joy. Let's do a brief meditation of heartfulness to fill your hearts with joy, fill your minds with light, and fill your being with vision of the future. Shut our eyes. Take a deep breath. Breathe out. Breathe in and get connected to this universe as you are the center of it. Be connected. And as you breathe out, let go of all attachments. It's a paradox. Get connected with a deep breath. And as you breathe out, let go of all the attachments. Breathing in, connecting with the fabric of this cosmos. Connecting with 7 billion hearts, 7 billion minds. Filling your heart with each breath with joy. Filling your minds with each breath with light of heartfulness. And filling your beings with energy, urja, prana of this cosmos. Once again, let's take a deep breath. Connect with everybody. Detach with all. Simple breathing in, breathing out to fill your heart with joy. Fill your minds with love, awareness, and fill your beings with vision, consciousness. Meditation of heartfulness is for the upliftment of mankind. Meditation of heartfulness is for the evolution of mankind. And the meditation of heartfulness stirs a revolution for mankind. Get internalized with heartfulness. Get eternalized, shutting your eyes, shutting your senses, coming together, becoming one. Only humans have the potential of rising above gods and falling below animals. Rising above gods. Let the principle of divinity, let the principles of divinity be embraced. Righteousness, good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Higher level of consciousness each time you grow with. And you have the potential to become a Krishna, a Christ, a Muhammad, a Mahadev, a Zarathustra, a Buddha. You have the potential. You can become the epitome of spiritual world by just shutting your eyes and breathing in the light and the subatomic particles and the energy of all the saints and sages and prophets who walked the earth once upon a time. Let's breathe in their energy. And breathe out detachments and everything unwanted. Bring a smile on your face. Barfi, and keep smiling from your heart. This is what heartfulness meditation is all about. Smiling with your heart. Let your soul smile. This reminds me of a William Blake poetry. We are led to believe a lie when we see from and not through the eyes. For we are born in the night, to be perished in the night, while our souls rest in the beams of light, the light of soul. Look through the eyes of the soul, and you will always have a vision and not a sight. A 360-degree perspective, profound perceptions of life, living, getting synergized with the cosmic being, getting synchronized with the cosmic being, getting internalized, getting eternalized, getting evolutionized, getting revolutionized, getting naturalized, rhythm and flow optimized, getting regularized, getting revitalized, getting specialized with heartfulness meditation, getting initialized to get Mickey-mized. Shut your eyes, feel loss of eyes, and get internalized, eternalized, Mickey-mized. Thank you, Heartfulness. Thank you.
Dear friends, any conversation on holistic development of youth remains incomplete without sports. And our very next session is about how sports can play an integral role in promoting holistic development of youth in universities. It gives me great joy and pleasure to invite all of you to attend this very wonderful panel discussion which is about to unfold. We have with us two eminent sportspersons and passionate people who have been promoting holistic development in their own ways. Firstly, let me welcome Ms. Ayonika Paul, who a lot of you would be knowing. She comes from the shooting background. She is an Indian Olympic shooting participant and has been the winner at the Commonwealth Games. We also have with us Mr. Dinesh Nair, who is the founder director of the Association of Indian Football Coaches and has been an ex-Indian national goalkeeper. Both Ayonika and Dinesh will discuss the theme of how universities can integrate sports as a vehicle to promote holistic development for youth. So let's move into this session and enjoy the insights.
Playing sports is known to instill a sense of discipline and teach the youth the importance of synergy, a healthy competitive spirit, and teamwork. Playing sports also keeps the mind and body healthy, increases stamina, enhances cognitive skills, and prevents the onset of various lifestyle diseases such as obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, and so on. Physical activity is vital to the holistic development of young people today, fostering their physical, social, and emotional health. The benefits of sports reach beyond the impact on physical well-being, and the value of educational benefits of sports should never be underestimated. But how does instilling sports into a hectic university life enable the holistic wellness of the youth? Well, we're about to find out. Welcome one and all to today's panel discussion, the role of sports in holistic health and youth development in universities. Today we have with us an esteemed panel of two sporting giants who are going to share their insights, thoughts, and knowledge with us and enlighten us about the significance of playing sports while in college. I would like to first introduce Mr. Dinesh Nair. He is a former Indian football player and the current founder director of the Association of Indian Football Coaches, that works for the development and welfare of coaches in India. He is also currently the head of the grassroots and youth development for the Mumbai FC team. He has also represented India in the pre-Olympics and has played for teams such as Mohan Bagan, FC Cochin, and Vasco Goa as a goalkeeper. In August of 2019, he delivered a TED Talk and has been a motivational conversationalist at various schools, universities, and conferences. Our next panelist is Ms. Ayonika Paul. She is an Indian shooter and has won the bronze medal at the Asian Airgun Championships, a silver medal at the 2014 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, and a silver medal at the Asia Olympic qualifying competition in 2016. She has also represented India at the Rio Olympics in 2016. She has a bachelor's in electronic engineering and a master's in image processing engineering. Her determination, perseverance, and focused mind makes her the ideal youth sporting icon. Welcome to the both of you, and thank you for joining us. We're very grateful for your time, and I look forward to learning a lot from the two of you today. So the first question from me to you is something that I am very curious to know, is how important was sports to the two of you during your formative years as university students? And how do you think that it helped you cultivate overall wellness?
Thank you, Roshali, and hi, Ayonika. I come from a South Indian family where education is the key. But I'm lucky to have my parents who supported me. But yeah, they had put their foot down, right? Yes, you want to play, you need to also study. So in short, university life, my college life is what transformed me into becoming a professional player. And later on in professional life, I think that is what helps me still when I'm going, whatever I'm doing in terms of sports administration or a sport consultant, I think that really helps, wherein it's not only about taking decisions or putting in that amount of work or, reaching before time for meetings and preparing myself for meetings. I think that all comes from there. So before going to every match, you have to prepare. After the match, you need to start reflecting. So I think all of that really helped. Of course, God was kind. I was lucky enough to play for the top clubs of the country, represented India in the pre-Olympics, but that all just followed. I would say that's you need also to be lucky to be there. But I think it teaches you a lot of things. It teaches you, sport teaches you a lot that maybe some other verticals might not.
Dinesh sir's and my story is almost similar. Because I come from a sports background, I had to, I was literally kicked out of the house in the evening so that I could play outside the house and just not sit at home. Summer vacations were more about trying out different sports, being into different activities apart from academics. So when I grew up, I became accustomed to various sports. I almost know each and every sport. But shooting was something that I couldn't leave. I fell in love with the sport. I wanted to learn something new every day. I wanted to get up the next morning and be on the range. And eventually, I felt so much in love with the sport that I started giving my 100%. I wanted to just hit the bullseye in each and every day. My parents, they saw that I'm developing into shooting, and they started giving me small supports in terms of gloves, in terms of shoes required for the sport. And that is how I got all my equipments and my support from my parents. I know that many of the families are not quite lucky because they feel that academics, many of the people, they leave the academics for the sports and they leave the sports for the academics. But for me and my family, both of them were important. They have always been telling me that, okay, if you want to go out and play, you need to complete your studies. So since a very young age, I learned the importance of managing, of time management, and to give my 100% at whatever and whenever I do. This developed me as an individual, and even today, each and every day, each and every hour is planned. I have a routine set. Of course, I'm open to being adaptable. I take up new challenges, but this is how it developed me as an individual. It's necessary that many parents do not feel the importance of sports as such, but behind a certain person, behind a certain athlete, there is a whole team of people working from technicians, from physios. There are many different people working, and it's so necessary for the whole team to be together, for that one individual to win that 1 gram of 6 grams of Olympic gold.
That sounds amazing. So basically, both of you are saying the same thing, that sports at a university level is such a transformative and immersive experience. So my next question to you is, how do you think in today's day and age, holistic wellness and positive youth development is related to playing sports, during university life? How do you think you could link the two together?
Charlie, I think if you ask me, is an equalizer. What sport can do? Yes, there are other, verticals that can do, or other, professions that can help you. But I think sport is an equalizer. So what do you need in today's world is you need to build communities, right? You need to build communities. You need to build that. And how do you make any place stronger? You make any place stronger when people are connected. Sport connects people, and that's very important to understand. Is sport connects people. So stay connected in a sport, wherever you are. Like when you go into a training pitch, apart from wishing, early morning when you go onto the pitch, or if Ayonika goes on to her shooting range, she will start wishing from the watchman to the coach, to the assistant coach, or to the physio, to the dietitian. So, so that's the connect that you create. Even when you're going for a competition, you go wish your opponent, you go wish everyone. So that's important. And what do you look for in today's world? What do you look for? You look for smarts and hearts, right? We need people who can learn fast, who can have a willingness to work hard, integrity, great empathy, and team first, right? That's what attitude, that's what you need. And this is what sports does to you, right? You need good leaders. Sports helps you in, and leadership doesn't come on demand. You have to earn it. And in sports, you can't demand a victory, right? I'm the best player, I'm going to win. No, you need to earn your victory. So that's, it gets, that quality in you, the leadership quality, that I need to earn respect. I can't demand respect, right? Decision making, so much important in sports, like in football and cricket. Football, do I dribble a ball? Do I pass a ball? Do I receive? Do I give a dummy, right? In cricket, do I, play this ball, or do I, leave this ball, or do I hit this ball? Similarly, I'm sure I'm not an expert in shooting, but Ayonika will agree with me that when do I pull the trigger? Is it the right time? Have I got it right? That fraction of a second. So decision making is so important, that sport teaches you. Sport makes you coachable, right? And it's so important today's, you go to any industry, any corporate, they want managers or people who are coachable, and sport teaches you that. How to be coachable, how to accept being coachable, right? And expression. Now, what's important is every child or every student wants to express in one form or the other. And sport allows you to express. Whatever sport you play, you might win, you might lose, but you are expressing the way of expressing, right? And also winning right is important. It's not only winning is important, but it's strive to win, okay? But win with the right commitment, with a teamwork and integrity. I think that's important. And when FIFA says it's fair play, so whatever do you do at a fair play. And one of the most important aspects is accepting failure and defeat. You might be a champion, but on a given day, you might even lose. And that's so important, because everyone is so used to having everything on their fingertips. We have got instances where there are new trainees who come into a system, and when they present something to their bosses, and the boss says, no, this is not as expected, they don't accept it. because they've never learned to accept defeat or no for an answer. So sport teaches you that. And I'm not talking of only professional sport. Even playing in your gully, even playing in your college, mohalla teaches you that. You win someday, you lose someday. Yeah. And of course, apart from what I said earlier, fitness, staying healthy, time management, and social connects.
Absolutely.
So whatever religion you are from, whatever state of society you are from, sport gets everyone together. You can't say that mera team mein yaar, he's black, he's white, he's big, he's small, he's rich, he's poor. Everyone is on the same platform. You perform, you're the best. So I think that everything put together and at the right time, and when children are in the universities, that's where their careers are shaping. This will help. And try to understand that we all need to try to understand that every child who plays won't become a Sachin Tendulkar, a Usain Bolt, or Lionel Messi, or a Ayonika Paul, right? They might take up a sport for the love of it and still be able to, build all this thing up.
The whole time I would be at the shooting range or at the swimming pool, like I would literally throw my bag and run to the swimming pool because that time I was in swimming. And my mom set up the condition that, okay, you need to finish this chapter and only then can you go to the pool. And for the first day, I thought that she's just kidding and I ignored her. She did not let me swim for the next 2 days. I learned my lesson. And from the next day onwards, I was up to the mark with my studies. To add to that, I think that people who are good in different aspects, because the mind somehow can take only a limited amount of information in, and after that it gets monotonous. Right. So it's necessary for the mind to have different aspects. Like if I keep on shooting the whole day, even I find it boring after some time. So I need to have a lot of different varieties to it. So that's why we put in drills into swimming, we put in drills into football. And that's how it works with each and every aspect of life, that we need to have some changes. That is why most of the people who are good into sports or any other activities are also good into studies. Like for me, I started painting after 15 years, just before the lockdown hit. And I was like, let me just pick up the brush because I was spending a lot of time on the shooting range and I wanted some break. And it turns out that I'm good at painting. Eventually I learned that how much of a time I'm putting into one aspect, like painting or shooting or workout, it shouldn't be a lot more than a certain limit. So that is what it gets a little bit of variety into our everyday routine, because no two days in the sport is the same. You cannot be working on the laptop and just sitting, just looking at the screen the whole day. You have to have different shots. No two shots in football are the same. No two shots in cricket are the same.
Absolutely.
It just gets life a lot more interesting, and the mind, it becomes more alert, and we are ready to take up more challenges. In addition to Dinesh's points, I would like to add that most of the best lectures in team management and in leadership have been given by sports captains of many teams, by either athletes who have worked really hard in getting the team together, and they have really helped in making better rules for making up a better team in business as well. Yes. Even then we need varieties, because the moment we hit monotony, it happens that we don't continue enjoying the game. It becomes more of a work. And as they say that necessity is the mother of all inventions. It's most of the good coaches and most of the good captains have always been innovative in their ways of training. Even if you watch Djokovic or most of the top players' Instagram profiles, you see that they have always coming up with new innovative ideas to train.
That is so true. This actually makes me realize that as a non-sporting person, listening to the two of you makes me realize that sports is such a immersive and self-transformative experience. I think most of us We're just watching you, people like you, giants like you. We're watching you. We don't really understand the deep dive immersiveness of the immersive nature of sports. Besides just the competitive spirit and the sportsman spirit that everyone talks about, there is so much more to it. It is it's such a process of metamorphosis for the sports person to kind of go through a transformative experience just inside and out. So these are some great points that the two of you brought up. Speaking of coaching, I would like to ask the both of you, that research states that a strong relationship between students and a mentor or students and a coach leads to positive youth development. So do you think that, guidance from the right coach or guidance from the right leader fosters a healthy university life, for young people? And how do you think it could contribute to a healthy mind and healthy lifestyle?
It's very important to have the right teacher. It's very basic. Like if you need a good math student or a science student, you need a good maths teacher. So if you need a good sportsman or sportswoman, you need a good sports coach or a teacher. I would like to give an example here of Bill Campbell. I don't know if you've heard of him. Bill Campbell helped to build some of Silicon Valley's greatest companies, including Google, Apple, Intuit, okay? And created over $1 trillion in market value. And you know what was his background before that? He was a former college football player and a coach. He was head coach of the Columbia University football team. And you know who are a couple of his, maybe his students or, or people who mentored was Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Sundar Pichai, among others. So here you are, you have a football coach who's, of course, he's a great person. There's also a book which he's written, but Bill Campbell mentored one of the top people in not only sports, he mentored the top people in across industries. You use sport as a tool to address social issues, maybe gender equality, sanitation, hygiene, or you can pick up issues that are there in your university and use sport as a tool to get there. Get the students' energy. Every student has one kind of energy, right? Use it in the right place. And once a child or a student gets into sports, be it any sport, his energies are channeled, and then you can slowly build the building blocks.
My final question to the two of you would be, how would you associate youth development and holistic wellness with cultivating an interest in sports and making it a part of university life? And of course, how has meditation helped you in your career?
So for me, when I was studying engineering, even my friends were studying engineering. So they used to study the whole day. And I used to study and shoot or play at the same time within the same 24 hours. So how we define these 24 hours is all upon us. As I said, that the mind can take only a limited amount of information per day, and what information we set in is all upon us. As the others were still studying the whole day and taking in as much information, I was doing a lot more during the same time, and I managed to get almost the same marks as them. It really defines us as to what we do in these 24 hours. That this time given to everybody is the same. It is what makes us or breaks us. That is the motto that I live by. That just take out everything we can of the time that we have got. For me, defining this 24 hours is what made me reach where I am. Right from mindfulness to being productive, it is all interrelated as to how I put in, how my mind gets the activity done or gets the outcome, the product of the day. For me, starting the day with meditation, then following by some hours of yoga for flexibility, then by training, going for the education, and then coming back and doing my physical training at the gym. So every day being planned is how it happened.
That's brilliant. What about you, Mr. Dinesh? How does it help you? What does it mean to
Yeah.
you? You said that, you've also been inculcating the Heartful coaching initiative, at your place of work and helping other coaches sort of form that mind-heart connection. So how has
Yeah.
that helped you?
So, Brishali, so before, so we had this Heartful Coach program, which we rolled out to all our coaches, our core team members and our state heads across all the states in the country. But before that, I wanted to, do it myself. I wanted to feel and it really worked because, see, as a coach or as a mentor or as a teacher, what we need is it's about development of the child. It's not only about winning a match or winning that one trophy. It's about overall development of the child. And I think meditation really helps in that. It helps us to first is slow down. See, because when it comes to football, a lot of sports, it's high intensity. You are it's an aggressive game. It's a body contact game. So this helps you to, relax. Is especially player or a coach. So it helps you to relax. It helps you to reflect. And when you do the cleaning process, like after a long day, you've done your training, you've done your matches, or you come back to your room and you clean yourself. It takes away all the impressions, all the negativities away from your body. And I think that's very important, where you're opening up again to the universe and getting in the positivity. I think that's the key. I think it helps you ease out. It helps you, if you ask me, you're blank. So you had a training session, or you are a match, or you have played with your friends in your university or college. You come back, you have your cleaning session, and everything is done. Morning, you start with a meditation, where again you are preparing for the entire day. And I feel the decisions you take after a session will be much better and positive, and it will help you and your teammates in the entire the game that you're in, or the work that you're going to. Like if it's an athlete, he or she is putting work in terms of their sport. And if it's a coach, it's how you coach, how you mentor. Then you have your other analyst and your doctor. So it helps you be calm. It helps you take good decisions. It helps you stay focused. I think that's important. Where every sport you need that focus coming in, not only during your matches. What happens is everyone stresses on focus during competitions. It is focus every day, in and out. Every training sessions you need to focus. It's like giving 100%. I mean, it's not 99.99%. It has to be 100% every single day. And that's what will make you a champion, or that's what will make you a good individual. So I think that meditation really helps in that. And and that's really one key factor that has helped me personally during this lockdown, because I started practicing Heartfulness. And I was working for 17 hours a day. We did over 200 webinars. We reached out to 5,000 coaches in India, coaches from across 16, 17 countries across the globe. But I never felt that pressure, sitting in front of I underwent a biopsy. I had some back issues. I went under a biopsy during the lockdown. I had to go for MRIs, X-rays. I had to go to the hospital for the biopsy. Before that, I had a problem with my ear, and I had to take some steroids. I think, but all this, I could, keep it calm, and because of, I think, the meditation.
Those were some amazing insights about meditation and how it's a part of both of your routines. Seeing as, we're at the National Education Conclave, and we've spoken about sports and its importance in young university students' lives. Is there a message you would like to give them? Any final thoughts you would like to share with our young audience watching us right now?
Yeah, I think we are honored to be a part of the National Education Conclave 2021 and the launch of the Heartful campus. And what message I would like to give not only the university, but also parents across the globe is, sports as an industry in itself. It's not only the player, right? the global sports market reached a value of nearly 388.3 billion in 2020. Okay, so there was an increase, but there was a fall of about, the market declined from 458.8 billion in 2019 to 3.88 billion is because of the COVID-19 pandemic, right? And the market size of sports industry across India was over 91 billion Indian rupees in 2019. So, so when you think of sport, don't only think of the player or the athlete, right? Professional sports career other than sports. So sport is an industry in itself. And if you don't, if you promote sports in the university, so sports itself is an industry. And I think as universities, it's about creating individuals, it's about creating citizens, and introducing sports and creating a sporting culture that will really help all the students not only to become sportsmen or sportswomen, but also transform their life, is getting into the sporting industry, or the sporting culture will help them in any other industry they go to, whether it be creating smarts and hearts, creating leaders. It will help in their decision making, team building, accepting defeat and failure. So I think sport, if it's rightly done and it's inculcated in the students, in the universities, it will really help them shape their future and create good human beings and responsible citizens.
With the different fields that Dinesh has already mentioned, I can just add that experience and experiment with different fields, find out what are the different places that you can get in, and you might just find the love for the career that you're looking for. With that being said, I would like to congratulate the National Education Conclave 2021 for the launch of the Heartful campus.
Thank you both for your brilliant insights and your pearls of wisdom. I think you've inspired me for life, and every single audience member that's out there that's watching us right now are going to resonate with every word that you have said today. That was a spectacular session. I hope all of you watching have gained some valuable insights into the role of sports in holistic health and youth development in your university lives. Thank you so much to the two of you for being a part of this brilliant panel discussion and sharing your experience and your wisdom with us. Once again, from me and the entire team, thank you so much for your valuable time, and we are extremely grateful for your presence here today. So thank you so much.
Now, for the last time, I'm very happy to present the Heartful Campus Awards for National Education Conclave 2021.
For stellar contribution to a heartful education, the jury is pleased to confer the Heartful Professor Award 2020 upon Professor Ramarao Nandendla of the Chellapati Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Guntur.
Very good morning all. Indeed, I am very happy for selecting Chellapati Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences under category 1 of Heartfulness Award. This award goes to all stakeholders as management, students, staff, and receptors of the Guntur district who initiated and who propagated heartfulness meditation in this institute, namely Professor T.J.K. Redigar, who initiated this program and which is propagated by the other preceptors, Mrs. Radhika, C.H. Srinivasarao, S. Ramkoteswara, and Mrs. Sita Prasad. We felt very happy that the award is given by Heartfulness Meditation Institution by the grace of the Master. And we felt that by following the experiential learning practical learning, the students and the faculty should be able to learn the courses and the programs effectively and reach the goal. To have this practical approach and experiential learning, one should have the control thoughts of the mind naturally by following by focusing towards the heart, and this could be able to be achieved by practicing through heartfulness meditation regularly with the cleaning process. Thank you.
Wishing Professor Nandendla an even greater success in 2021. For stellar contribution to a heartful education, the jury is pleased to confer the Heartful Educator Award 2020 upon Dr. Geeta Dahiya of the National TT College of Girls, Alwar. Wishing Dr. Geeta Dahiya an even greater success in 2021. For stellar contribution to a heartful education, a special jury recognition is conferred upon Vice Chancellors of select universities, Professor Dr. Aditya Malik of the K.R. Mangalam University, Gurugram, Haryana, Dr. Anupam Choksi of the Lakshmi Narayan College of Technology, Bhopal.
Namaskar, I am Anupam Choksi, Pro-Chancellor of LNCT University and the Secretary of LNCT Group of Colleges. We have started our journey with Heartfulness Institute from 2017, and in last 3 years, a lot of our students and faculty have completed these courses, these programs. I am thankful to the Heartfulness Institute for considering me for this award. This award is effort of my faculty members, the coordinator Mr. Dr. Amit Srivastavji, and the students who have wholeheartedly participated in this program. The program has brought a sea change in their day-to-day life and their personality. Overall changes are visible in the students now, even in these COVID times in online mode. They have completed these programs. I would like to thank the trainers of Heartfulness Institute who have given us the full support. I will also like to request the Heartfulness Institute to include these programs as credit courses, to make these programs as credit courses so we can include in our LNCT University curriculum, and more students can get benefited from these programs. I would like to again thank you, the Heartfulness Institute. Thank you.
Wishing all of them an even greater success in 2021. For stellar contribution to a heartful education, the jury is pleased to confer the Heartful Youth Ambassador Award 2020 upon Mr. Abhirami M., Mr. Lokesh S. Gunavati P. of the Hallmark Business School, Trichy.
Hi all, this is Abhirami from Hallmark Business School, Trichy. I feel proud and grateful to receive this award. In this present scenario, it is highly needed to involve ourselves in meditation. I feel heartfulness should reach everyone. Thank you.
Hi, this is Lokesh from Hallmark Business School, Trichy. I am feeling blessed to receive this award. Heartfulness meditation helped me in so many ways in my life. I am thankful to my HBS team to introduce Heartfulness meditation to me. I once again thank you all.
Hello everyone, I am Gunavati from Hallmark Business School, Trichy. I am feeling so excited and proud to receive this award. It's motivating me. Everyone should enjoy these benefits of heartfulness meditation and spread across to their family and friends. Thank you.
Wishing each one of them an even more successful for stellar contribution to a heartful education. The jury is pleased to confer the Heartful Youth Ambassador Award 2020 upon Mr. Praveen Nagar, Mr. Aman Maheshwari, Mr. Gaurav Gupta, Ms. Shivali Gupta of the University of Petroleum and Energy Studies, Dehradun. Wishing each one of them an even greater success in 2021. For stellar contribution to a heartful education, the jury is pleased to confer the Heartful Campus Award 2020 upon Mr. Rohit Gupta, Mr. Yogesh Patil, Mr. Preet Shah, Miss Sumanisha Sheikh, Miss Monica Movies of the MGM School of Biomedical Sciences, MGM IHS, Navi Mumbai.
साल की शुरुआत इतनी अच्छी से हो गई. We got the Youth Campus Initiative Award by the Heartfulness Institute. This was not even possible if we had not started meditation. अगर 2 साल पहले मेडिटेशन ही नहीं किया होता तो आज ये अवार्ड ही नहीं मिल पाता. हार्टफुलनेस ऑलवेज यही बताता है कि हमें एक पर्पस ऑफ लिविंग ढूंढना है. इससे एटलीस्ट ये तो पता चल गया कि मुझे मेरे पर्पस के आगे जाना और हमेशा ओरिएंटेड रहना है. At the end, I would only suggest one thing. Inner peace always leads to world peace. Thank you so much everyone, and especially thanks to Heartfulness Institute for giving such a very nice opportunity. Thank you. Have a good day. Namaste.
Would like to thank all the team members of Heartfulness for nominating us for National Youth Award. This is clearly one of the most significant event for us. I sincerely appreciate the attention that our management give us for our work. Also, we will work in a team so that each and every students of MGM SDS, also our institute, get the benefits for themselves. Also, make them ensure that stillness doesn't mean inactivity. It's an activity at a dimension that meditation makes you aware of.
I am feeling really blissful to receive this award from Heartfulness Institute. I had got several awards from various institutes in the field of research and diagnostics, but getting this award is really a graceful event in my life. And it has encouraged me to conduct various such activities in our institute for development of our student as well as faculty. I am really thankful for Heartfulness Institute to giving this award to our institute.
We are really very happy and feeling blessed to receive the Heartfulness Campus Award 2021. It's like when we see 2 years back when we started the heartfulness practice, we never thought that we'll come to a point like receiving the award. Definitely this has boosted my team, my colleagues and everyone around us. Definitely we are not stopping at that point, and already we are spreading this and inculcating these values to our students, and they are spreading this to our juniors, and really thank you so much.
Wishing all of them an even greater success in 2021. Our awardees are not the only ones to have done such great work. The jury is delighted to acknowledge some eminent academicians with a certificate of appreciation for stellar work in heartful education. We thank the jury members, Dr. Lalita Dhareshwar, Mr. Shivakumar Mathada, Mr. Rajagopal Subramaniam, Dr. Vimla Shoran, and Dr. Yamini Karmarkar. Thank you, jury.
So I would like to thank all the volunteers, the jury members who were on the panel all over India, all the zonal coordinators of Heartfulness Institute, along with the committee members. A big thank you for the great contribution and the support what they have shown to us in organizing this Heartful Campus Award. This was not possible without your support and without your blessings. Thank you so much for being a great team to make this award dream possible. Thank you again. Now the time comes, finally, for the last time in this National Education Conclave, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome the visionary, the leader, the role model, the silent change maker, the president of Heartfulness Institute, Dr. Kamlesh D. Patel, to present a valedictory note for the National Education Conclave 2021.
I think the craving that we all carry is from the very beginning itself. The moment the world, the universe was created, that craving is embedded. I was fascinated by Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa. Each time I read Ramakrishna's Gospel, I would cry like a child. This attitude was there from very early age. But I had no solution until I came at the feet of Ramchandra of Shahjahanpur. Through meditation, we try to integrate various ideas, various cultures beyond religions, without forcing any dogmas. Please don't trust me when it comes to fundamental things like this. Have a scientific approach. Look at it with a lot of skepticism. In the beginning, you must dissect it, you must analyze it. Let's plant some seeds of peace and harmony. When humanity's consciousness will change, there will be willingly inviting different level of consciousness, and when there is a critical mass or egregore reached, then the course of humanity will change altogether.
May I present to all of you DAAJI, a silent change maker.
Hello, namaste, and welcome to this great conclave. First time offered by Heartfulness Institute. I love to diagnose a problem, especially with struggling youth. That means to identify a problem as well as to offer a possible solution, which may not be exact, but we strive to find solution to the problem that we perceive. Many are using the term these days, lockdown generation or Z generation for today's youth. The pandemic year 2020 has had so many nefarious impacts. One has to realize that what happened and take a specific and required action before we reach the point of no return. The potential of an entire generation is at stake, not just because of pandemic. The quality of their lives and their future, and so the future of us all, depends on how youth plays out their role. And how they will play out their role depends on us, the elders. India has one of the largest youth population in the world, at an approximate 60% of its population, total population rather. How will our nation fare if the youth are not taken care of? How can we get down to building this empire that youth will represent in the future? But it has to be done now. The COVID pandemic did less to remind that it has disrupted our normal lifestyle. The immediate effects of the pandemic on the lives of young people, especially with regards to employment, their education, mental well-being, rights and social activism, are not very savory. It's very negative things to talk about at the moment, but nevertheless, they have to be addressed. A global survey on youth and COVID was conducted jointly by several international agencies between April and May of 2020. It explored how young people around the world are coping and their perception of policy measures. Over 12,000 responses from specific sample groups in several types and models of study were received from young people in 112 countries. It showed a dramatic increase of stress, loneliness, digital toxicity, anxiety, depression, fear. A major area of concern that flashed up was that the continuing economic and health crisis, the solution doesn't seem to be in sight. It's in several parts of the world. Rather, the entire globe is affected by it. As 2020 begins and its socio-economic impacts are expected to affect rather adversely people's mental health and well-being, a situation which needs addressing with urgency. What happens as a result of this stress leading to loneliness? Loneliness leading to another factor. Often one wonders why people commit suicide. Suicide is also an outcome of losing hope in one's life. Suicide is rather very complex psychological phenomena. It's a second leading cause of death in young people aged 15 to 29, as reported by World Health Organization in the year 2015. You can imagine where that figure may stand today. We shudder to think of taking even a look at it. So it is so terrifying. Nevertheless, we have to face the situation. We'll talk about the solution as we explore the problems going ahead. I would like to talk to you about this World Economic Forum report for global risks, the year 2019. They say worldwide mental health problems now affect an estimated 700 million people. That was before pandemic. Complex transformations, societal, technological, and work-related, are having profound impact on people's experiences. A common theme is psychological stress related to a feeling of lack of control in the face of uncertainty. These issues deserve more attention. Declining psychological and emotional well-being is a risk in itself, and one that also affects the wider global risks landscape, notably via impacts on social cohesion and politics. Research by WEF and the Harvard School of Public Health estimates that the global economic impact of mental disorders in 2010 alone was $2.5 trillion US, with indirect costs, loss of productivity perhaps, early retirement, outstripping all direct costs like diagnosis and treatment by the ratio of 2 to 1. The interplay between emotions and technology is likely to become an ever more disruptive force. Consider the various disruptions the digital revolution has already triggered. What would be the effective computing equivalent of echo chambers or fake news, of electoral interference or the micro targeting of advertisements? New possibilities for radicalization would also open up, with machine learning used to identify emotionally receptive individuals and the specific triggers that might push them toward violence. Such an atmosphere creates terrorists. Violent society will only be a natural consequence if we don't take immediate step now. Oppressive governments could deploy effective computing to exert control or whip up angry divisions, which we already see in 2020 and 2021. Take, for example, what's happening in the United States. Democracy, the proponent of democracy is also had somehow lost its sight on democracy itself. According to the World Health Organization, there are close to 800,000 people committing suicide per year. One suicide every 40 seconds. It is more than people killed by wars, natural disasters, and murders put together. It is the second leading cause of death among 15 to 29-year-old globally. Most mental disorders have their onsets during childhood or adolescence. 75% of all adult mental disorders begin before 24 years, and 50% of these by the age of 14 years. Early symptoms of a mental disorder emerge a few years before the full diagnosis can be made. Depression and anxiety disorders increased by 54% and 42% respectively between 1990 and 2013. In merely 13 years, it has jumped. Depression ranks second and anxiety disorders ranks the seventh. It is quite alarming to witness mental health deteriorating as we are moving into a future. We are all focused today on finding vaccines, effective vaccines. Of course, there are a few already in the market. Its veracity, its effectiveness is yet to be tasted, to be proven. We have worse scenario. How will we vaccinate? How can we prevent mental health disorder? Is there a way? We have to look back for a solution actually into ancient times where such problems were not even heard of. That's why most religious texts don't even refer or don't even remind us of such an illness. If at all in the passing, simple thing like worry will be there, but not to this extent of resulting into schizophrenia or mass suicide, for example. Talking of stress, loneliness, how do we become such a weaklings to succumb to stress? I'm reminded of a beautiful story, rather a beautiful episode that I personally encountered in my life. I was to inaugurate one meditation hall. The host gave me a scissor to cut the ribbon. I tried my best to cut it with the scissor, but I couldn't. You know why? The scissor was blunt. I had to really try hard, just cut one part and then pull it, tear it apart. See. Later on during meditation, it occurred to me that this thought revisited this episode, my inability to cut the ribbon with that scissor that was given to me. It took me to this understanding, not a great one, but an obvious one, that the scissor was blunt. Why was it blunt? It was overused, never sharpened. What happens to us especially? Imagine life of happiness, life of comfort, life of luxury is one side of life, one part of the scissor. Another, sadness, pain, exertion, another part of the scissor. What happens in our real life? We avoid using one side of the scissor, especially facing the problems in life. We avoid them. So it remains sharp. That part of the scissor remains sharp because that part of life is not largely confronted. The pleasure part of life is always overused. Little pleasure and you want to use it again to next level of pleasure, it's never ending. Ultimately, overuse blunts our sensitivity, demands more and more in order to fire those neurons to release more happy hormones. So the pleasure part of scissor of our life remains overused and automatically in its natural state will become blunt. So we are always equipped with two sides of the scissor. One is blunt, another is sharp. It's a problem. Added by this loneliness factor in youth, they're going through a little tough time in their lives. It's an epidemic. Loneliness has become an epidemic. While youth is a time when you are filled with aspirations, but that lonely period will only make you brood over how you're going to succeed with those aspirations, fulfilling your aspirations, and more so if you become negative, how you will fail. Often people think more of failure than success. Beginning an ideal life is an integral part of growing up. All this so that there is a successful transition into adulthood. A deterioration in mental well-being of the youth whose education or work was either disrupted or stopped altogether in the pandemic, were almost twice as likely to be lost generation, showing how via connection between mental well-being, education success, and labor market they integrate. Aspiration is determined due to several factors in which the external environment has a major role to play. Lifestyle is determinant in how you flower into adulthood. Constant stress and fear are inhibitors in such a powerful manner. I have briefly talked about how the stress, loneliness, anxiety, depression, fear, suicide. I think this is because they're all interrelated. I'd like to take further into this and seek for a solution. I'm hopeful that during these 2 days of the conclave, various eminent speakers have successfully reminded us of the urgency to rescue the future of our youth globally. A moral pandemic, of course, it's common to all of us. Will we be living such a morally depleted society for our children and their children? How can we sleep at night knowing that we are allowing for this to happen without doing something about it? It is for each one of us to take a pledge to reverse the trend. If you are true to your heart and say, I'm an educator or I'm playing my part, that we will build our own inner strength, physical, moral, and spiritual, every single moment. We will begin practice that will elevate our consciousness. And what better way to improve our consciousness than to go within ourselves, be inspired from within ourselves. I cannot borrow inspirations. I can look at someone's life, their struggle, and their success. But ultimately it depends on me how I read that, with what attitude I absorb that. Will going to temple help me? No. I become dependent on externals. While the destiny, the maker of the destiny is within my reach. Freedom to choose those actions will depend largely on my freedom, how I entertain my mind, whims of my mind, how I remain focused or how I remain unfocused. Do I irrate myself from thinking into this and that rather than focusing on what is the most essential? So we have to remind our children time and again what is most essential in their life and help them focus in achieving that focused aspiration, focused goal. Continuously keep on reminding, dream big. Also offer the means to achieve them. We can help them into dive deep into themselves. Books are not going to do them. Books will train them mentally. This is one thing. It is also essential. People often comment negatively about Western education and praise the Gurukula system. I am of an opinion that we need to build bridges between Western and Eastern approach of education. It is like marriage of science and spirituality. How do we explore spirituality? Not going outward, but allowing ourselves, our consciousness to touch our spirit. And how are we going to touch our spirit unless and until we become so calm and so peaceful and tap into that inner field we call meditation. This tapping into our own inner resources is meditation. Through meditation, we know our weaknesses, so we can work on them. When somebody else, even if it's your father or mother, tells you this is wrong, you might perhaps rebel. But when your own self tells you time and again, this is where you have faltered, you will not get angry on yourself just because you have reminded yourself of this. You will in fact act on it because the message has come from within yourself. So this self-diagnosis is very critical to this. And self-diagnosis, self-reflection self-introspection, self-study can happen only when we close our eyes. There are many ways people focus on breath pattern, people focus on light outside. There are various sorts of meditation. Heartfulness also offers varieties of practices to sharpen one's intellect, sharpen one's thinking, trying to balance the ego and thus improving the consciousness. Helping this consciousness improve, I think automatically we begin to evolve, because consciousness is the master that drives our genetic expression. If I may quote Stephen Covey, who says, quote, what you are is speaking so loudly that I cannot hear what you say. That means becoming is so important. Being and becoming. How can you be in a certain state? For example, I have to be very clear with my approach, with my thinking. And how can I be unless and until I calm down myself? Imagine the roaring oceans or rivers that is moving at a tremendous speed versus the calm ponds. Calm ponds are able to gather the ripples. You are able to see the ripples even if one small leaf falls on it. Our heart is like that. If it remains turbulent with this problem and that problem, tackling this stress and that stress, loneliness, worries about the future, you can forget about calmness and stillness and peaceful heart. Young people, they rebel because of this. But once they become the guide of themselves, we give the means of rightful meditation, techniques, so they can explore themselves on their own turf. As educators and parents to youth, we want to ensure that centers of learning train the youth to achieve this sort of awareness that will result into proper livelihood. But it is vital that we also show them how to lead a life with a proper understanding, thinking, and most importantly, honest approach to life. That is as essential a training, if not more, than any elective they may choose in the college. How to build a bridge between the Eastern approach and Western approach. The present national education policy, being a great start, will provide the premises and heartfulness practice, consciousness technology that can actualize this utopian vision. Knowing is not enough. Doing must follow. Experience is the result, and we become educated and we begin to solve real life problems and situations. We all know we need to be kind, generous, honest, good people, and do the right thing, but there comes the problem. We often cannot make out what is right and what is wrong, what is profitable, what is not profitable, what I must do right now and what I must avoid. This wisdom is sadly lacking. But once you close our eyes, and before we act, if we can mentally see the consequences of my action, my thought pattern, my choices, then either I can stop or can go ahead with the better planning. So, rightful thinking leads to rightful action. Rightful action will lead to right results, and right results as per your cherished heart's desire will give you happiness. You know, I receive thousands of emails each week with people requesting me to tell them what to do, how to make a right choice when life throws difficulties and complex choices in their paths. Also, even if we know what is right, are we able to follow it? You all are familiar with this example of Duryodhana telling Lord Krishna, you know, Jana me dharmam, nachame pravritti. See, I know what is right. I can't follow it. Today's youth also is fully cognizant that I should be doing this and I should be avoiding something. Yet, something prevents them. What is preventing them? Confidence, courage to follow right, and fear to lose out something if they do not go to the negative path. Because the path of pleasure is generally negative. And who wants to miss out on those aspects of life which are considered today and praised so much? So we have to inculcate. How will you inject this confidence, courage, fearless state of mind when following the rightful thing, following the dharma? There's only one way: meditation. Meditation gives you conviction. It is not enough. I don't consider meditation as a dharmic or as a religious approach. Meditation opens up inner compass. It guides us every moment. For example, when one thinks that, oh, I believe in God, it's a whitewash. For example, if I see the sun, if I see the stars or moon, if I see the tree, when I see you directly in front of me, do I have to believe your presence? Or do I have to believe the presence of the sun and the stars and the moon and these trees? Not at all, because I see them. So, believing in God, it's somehow escaping from this reality that I am not seeing, so I am believing, hoping that one day I will be able to see. It's a good beginning. Ideal approach would be, I don't know whether he's there or not. And later, through your own experience, say boldly that yes, I do experience, and so there is God. When they see the consequences of their action in the mental compass, of course, they might make mistake once, twice, but repeated mistakes will teach them a lesson that, oh, I am not to follow this. I am not to follow this path time and again. I got to be cautious because I waste a lot of energy in following the wrong path. So my dear colleagues, friends, we have a great responsibility. To me, the only solution that comes to my mind is this: make them introspect. Have some moments of peace and quiet during those daytime or night time. Encourage them to reflect on their day-to-day activities and see how life changes. I wish every campus to have such rooms where they can meditate. There should be some trainers who are expert in yoga. Yoga to me is not just asanas, or not just breathing away like, day in and day out. It's at a physical level. It's okay for a physical health. Mental grooming and spiritual grooming, without whose base, in fact, your physical health will go wrong way, unless and until we build our moral muscles, spiritual muscles, unless and until we strengthen our inner compass, refine our inner compass. The wrong guidance will lead us to astray. While we are clearing ourselves from mental complexities and impurities that interfere with making right decisions, I have to understand how to get rid of the inbuilt prejudices that I have built, jealousies that I feel, irritations I feel when I see someone, all these prejudices, how to get rid of them. Unless and until I get rid of all this, somehow, the old problems, old mental approach will continue to haunt me. As the truth reveals itself, as we meditate more and more, we see many facets of the truth. Just as the sun rises, we witness certain beauty of the sun, which is also true. As it reaches the noon period, it has its own splendor. As it goes down, becomes sunset, that is its own splendor. Every moment is a truthful moment. When people talk of Sat, Chit, Anand, Sat meaning the truth, Chit means consciousness, Anand, you all know, it's all about bliss. How to arrive at the truth? This is a kind of a hint given to us by our elders, that develop this Sat, develop this truthfulness, so that your Chit, your consciousness will expand, will evolve. As a result, you'll always be blissful, you'll always be happier, you'll always be joyful. So you see, this coded message of Sat Chit Anand, having attained this truth, consciousness will change. As a result, you'll be blissful. That is all the meaning of Sat Chit Anand. But how to? It is always through meditation. I invite you all to participate in this meditation. It's a very simple process. At 9 p.m. tonight, those of you who are interested in meditation, please follow these simple guidelines of how to relax first, and then click one of our apps called Hearts app, request for a meditation session, and undergo that experience for at least half an hour or so. And you decide how this way of meditation changes my life. This half hour will tell you the effectiveness of this meditation, because this meditation involves a technique of pranahuti. Each time we meditate, we receive pranahuti, we receive this yogic transmission, and this magical thing, pranahuti, ends up changing our consciousness. A flame shall be lit today as Heartfulness opens its doors wide, and thousands of volunteers shall come forward to make each campus, each school of India, a Heartful campus. Will those who are in position to offer the students and faculty of their institutions rise to the occasion and invite Heartfulness education to be made available to their students? At this stage of human evolution, wherein both blind and conscious forces are driving all natures to draw together for cooperation or death, it is absolutely essential that the human consciousness should be sparked with it. The reason why the new education policy has laid so much stress on yoga and meditation is because it understands that very conscience of India, the unique faith in her unity and in the great message brooded over from Vedic times by the dreaming spirit of this ancient race as the message for which it must render account to the rest of mankind. The great Swami Vivekananda says, the purpose of any spiritual approach is only one: allowing the available consciousness to soar higher into superconsciousness and allow it to plunge into subconscious oceans. How to arrive at it? How to expand our available consciousness so that it can thrive in super and subconsciousness? Once again I say, it is not possible without closing your eyes, reflecting and meditating for some time. People often think closing eyes is a waste of time. People often relegate this to a later period of their lives, that, oh, I will do this after my retirement. My friend, if you cannot sit when you're 40, 50, 30, 20, how in the world are you going to sit past 60 when your knees will give away and you'll have arthritis, your back will not cooperate, you can hardly walk, let alone sit, let alone sleep. So, sooner the better. And when you refine your mind in your young age, you'll be able to utilize the beauty of this balanced mind. What will you do with a balanced mind when you're about to die anyway? Where will you use it in after death? I'm extremely thankful for the participations of the eminent speakers who joined our conclave and gave it a meaning. Dr. Bhushan Patwardhan, who is the Vice Chairman of the University Grants Commission, Dr. Pankaj Mittal, Secretary General, the Association of Indian Universities, Dr. Ishwar Basava Reddy, Director MD NII, and also an advisory to Ministry of Ayush, Direct Yoga Certification, also Board of India. I'm sorry, Director Yoga Certification, Board of India. Dr. Manish Kumar, CEO, National Skill Development Corporation. Dr. Professor Ramnath Narayan Swami, IIM Bangalore. Dr. Chris Shankar, Global HR Director, Infosys, and Honorable President of National HRD Network. Dr. V. Ramagopal Rao, Director, Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi. Shri Sanjay Lalbhai, Chairman and Managing Director of Arvind Group of Companies and Chancellor of University and Chancellor of Ahmedabad University. Dr. R.A. Maselkar, Padma Bhushan, National Research Professor. Dr. Anil Sahasrabuddhe, Chairman, AICTE. Ronnie Screwvala, Founder at Swadesh Foundation and Chairman of Co-Founder Upgrade. Dr. James Doty, Founder CCARE, Stanford University. Dinesh Nair, Founder Director, Association of Indian Football Coaches, AIFC. Mrs. Ayonika Paul, Indian Olympian champion shooter. And thanks one and all for participating so wholeheartedly. Hope we meet again with a different level of consciousness, more refined than today. Thank you.
Dear DAAJI, thank you very much for sharing with us your inspiring valedictory address for the National Education Conclave 2021. For all of you who wish to know more about Heartfulness or Heartful campus programs and how they could be implemented at your university, please feel free to contact our field teams or representatives for support. Friends, as we come to the closure of this landmark event, it is time to express our gratitude to our speakers, mentors, partners, and volunteers, without whose support this event may not have been possible. We are deeply grateful to Padma Vibhushan Shri Dr. Raghunath Mashelkarji, National Research Professor, Dr. Anil Sahasrabuddhe-ji, Chairman AICTE, Shri Dr. Bhushan Patwardhan, Vice Chairman, University Grants Commission, and Dr. Pankaj Mittal, Secretary General AIU, Association of Indian Universities, for gracing our event with their presence and insights. We also thank our dear Dr. James Doty from the Stanford University School of Medicine for his valuable presence at the conference, and all our other eminent speakers and panelists for their insightful contributions at this conclave. We are grateful to Shri Anil Kumar and Samunati for having joined hands with us as a co-sponsor for this event. Our special thanks to our production team from Brand Connect, who helped us co-develop this virtual conference event, with special appreciation for the untiring efforts placed by Shri Puneet Kaul, Subhash Banwal, and other team members, and Ms. Samyukta Ghosh from UVI Entertainment for her dedicated creative support. Friends, an event of national scale of such an order would not have been possible to accomplish but for the support of Heartfulness Institute, Heartfulness Education Trust, and all the Heartfulness volunteer teams representing different functionalities: digital marketing, PR, social media, IT, global youth communities, finance, Heartful Campus and Awards, film production, script writing, zonal and center field functionaries, and innumerable volunteers who have rendered selfless and valuable contribution towards the success of this event. Lastly, we are immensely grateful to dear DAAJI for his loving support and encouragement, which served as the inspiring force for all of us in giving shape and developing this event. Once again, should you wish to reach out to us for a deeper engagement with Heartfulness or Heartful campus programs, please fill the Google form which is displayed, or this form is also available in the handout section of the conferencing platform. Mention all your details, the area where you would like to have an inquiry or offer your services, and one of us will surely get back to you. We would also be very happy to seek your feedback on the event. So the feedback form is also available on the feedback portion of the conferencing platform. Please do candidly share your inputs so that we will be able to assimilate and improve our conference in years to come. With this, the National Education Conclave 2021 comes to a close, and we wish you all a fulfilling year 2021. Good evening and best wishes. Pranams.